Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name is Shardo. Welcome to the SGA Sports Talk channel. I hope you guys having a great day, and welcome to the Postgame show. The Oakland A's just suffer a heartbreaking 4-2 loss to the Seattle Mariners and are officially eliminated from postseason contention. Um, I would like to welcome Brandon McMahon for his second time on the show. It's really great to have people on like that. Hope I can collaborate with them in the future. We can do more shows together. But in the end, don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to click the bell notifications to make sure when I post another live video. Now I'd like to welcome Brandon McMahon to the post game show. Hey,
Hey,
what's
what's
up?
going on?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Does it kind of hurt that your team is out of the playoffs now?
Yeah, it's been a rough September. I mean, dropping 12 straight to the Mariners and just slowly creeping away from playoff contention. It's kind of heartbreaking. It's been a rough year.
But do you say that your fans have been the best supportive fans in the MLB, and you like how they come and support come out to the games and support every day? So would you say that your fan base is really supportive every day? You know, through the ups and downs, they always come out to the games and support the team the best way they can.
Yeah, I mean, we've always haven't had the most plentiful amount of fans at the games, but they're definitely loud. You got that drum section in right field. You got all the fans on the bleachers that put up those signs every time, all the custom A's gear. So yeah, the A's fans are loud and proud every game for that team.
What have you seen in the A's that impressed you this year over just the whole like the team in general, like how old their team is and the players are really good. There's so many great players on the team. It's not just Matt Chapman. It's like Matt Olson. Uh, so many great players.
Yeah, there was. I think the biggest positive was a huge step up in performance from Matt Olson, having over 100 RBIs. I believe he ended up with over close to 40, or he's going to be over 40 by the end of the season home runs. So he definitely had the best season he's ever had for the A's. So I'm really proud of him there. And then another guy that really stepped up that I didn't think would was Tony Kemp. Did a good job for most of the year at filling in at second base. A lefty that we needed, and so I thought that was quite well for the A's.
So for Chris Bassett, could you see how he was a little frustrated because he was saying that I thought we would do better than the Mariners, but they looked like they did a lot better than us. So did you see how he was coming with this frustration that he thought that the A's would do much better, but then it took the wrong turn and they got swept by the Mariners in a 3-game series?
Yeah, I mean, I think it stems from the Mariners weren't supposed to be a playoff team to begin the season. They were supposed to be like a fringe 500 team at best. They played a lot better than people expected, and the A's played a lot worse than people expected. I think most people in the A's organization expect them to be contending for a World Series this year, and so it just didn't work out that way. And I think it started with them not re-signing Marcus Semien. Obviously, you see him set the record for home runs by a second baseman this year, and it kind of just crept downhill from there with injuries from Trevor Rosenthal and us having a sub 500 record against playoff teams. So all the teams that are in the playoffs, our record is sub 500 against them, and so in order to get into the playoffs, you have to play good against the teams that are in contention.
Would you say that the A's pitching has been really bad this year? Their pitching rotation has been really bad. As I've heard from many people who have been around the A's and been to most of the A's games, they said that their pitching rotation has been kind of off. Do you agree with that?
No, I think for most of the season, other than later on in this year, like late August and all of September, so 80% of the season they've been fantastic. We were top 10 in the league. We blew 5 out of 6 games in August and past the 8th inning, and so it just really stemmed from just the later part of the year, and I think that's recency bias when we go from being a playoff team and being 1 game back from Houston to out of the playoffs was definitely because of the pitching and leaving runners on base. But for the majority of the season, they were pretty good. I can't hear you. You muted yourself.
My So my question for you is that who's a better hitter, Matt Olson or Matt Chapman?
Well,
So
I would
I
say
would say
it's
Matt
Matt Olson.
Olson.
Do you know why you say Matt Olson is you in your opinion is a good hitter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
I
I
think
think he's a little bit more
patient.
patient.
I'm getting
I'm getting
echoes
on your side.
Oh.
There we go. So I think he's a little bit more patient. Has a better walk to strikeout ratio than Matt Chapman. Has just as much power and everything there. So I think that overall he's been a better hitter. Chapman turned it on towards the end of the season, but he has a lot of strikeouts, and so what makes yourself a good hitter is hitting in timely situations. And I think that Chapman, left a lot of runners on base. He left multiple runners on tonight with 2 outs. So it's just been a rough season for him as far as from the strikeout standpoint. You're muted again.
So my other question is that when Chris Davis came into when he got re-signed by the A's, how excited was that?
It was nice. He was a big part of the team for a while, and it was nice to have him back on the roster. I didn't really expect too much of him. He gave some timely hits and everything like that, but it really was at that point our pitching that needed to settle in and take us into October, and they didn't do that.
And do you think he would in your thoughts? Did you have a feeling that he would come back, like he would get re-signed?
No, I mean I was watching him earlier this year, games in Texas, and he was hitting below 100 and got released flat out from the Rangers. And I really didn't think that he would have a revamped part of his second season, but maybe taking some time in AAA and reworking on his swing in a non or in a stress-free environment allowed him to revamp his swing. And then he gave us some good at bats down the stretch in September.
So as he got eliminated from the playoffs, what are some things that the A's can work on? Because to make sure this doesn't happen again, make sure they don't get eliminated.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird season or off season. I think all fans are going to be worried about the stadium situation. If the A's are going to be moving to Vegas, and then as far as the team itself is that they need to sign players back. I mean, you looked at what happened with Marcus Semien, right? So they didn't want to pay him $18 million. He went to the Blue Jays for $18 million. We had Elvis Andrus for $15 million, and you saw the WAR difference between Marcus Semien and Elvis Andrus, and we would be in the playoffs just by having one different player. So I think they need to make it a point to sign some of the guys that we brought over at the half, whether that be Josh Harrison or Starling Marte, and not be afraid to spend some money. I'm not saying that we need to spend over $100 million because that's not the team that we are, but trying to keep it towards the bottom of the league every year is just heartbreaking for A's fans. And then the A's are one of the most wealthy teams in California because they don't spend money. So I understand the ownership for that, but the owners are already billion-dollar, wealthy people, and they should be able to spend some money for the fans, especially if they're going to want to keep the ball team in Oakland.
Do you just like? I mean, I know this is not a good way to start the season, right?
Not a good way to end the season.
No, this is not it's definitely not it definitely hurts because you don't want to get when the season's coming to an end, you don't want to get eliminated. Right when the season's about to end. There's 3 more games left in the season, right? There's not that many games left.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we were in playoff contention. It sucks the way that it happened. It wasn't like we were making a charge into the playoffs. We were falling and falling apart at the end of the year. losing 11 straight games to Seattle is ridiculous. If we even go 500 in those games, we're in the playoff hunt. So it just really didn't make sense to me why we kept getting swept by Seattle, and then we swept Houston, and we're getting swept by Seattle again. It just didn't really make any sense to me. And then just to kind of limp out of the playoffs like an injured dog, that just didn't really sit well with a lot of fans. Like if you're coming into the end of the year and you're pushing hard like Seattle is now, they're pushing hard for a playoff spot, and like that's the good feeling. Like if you're playing really good baseball towards the end and you just don't make it, that's a better feeling than your team playing horrible, and that's the reason you lost.
So another thing about so now we're moving to the Dodgers. How do you feel about them getting losing to like they're making a comeback in the game right now. How do you feel about them playing St. Louis? Do you think that's going to be a good wild card matchup for LA?
Yeah, I mean, LA just put up a 3 spot in the 8th, so they tied it up at 9-9. So hopefully they can pull up the win there. I know a lot of Giants fans won't think that way, but they're only They're only 2 games back of San Francisco, or 2.5. So if they win this game, they'll be 2 games back and still can make a push in the final 3 games. If they end up playing St. Louis, they played St. Louis really well this year, and I'll take Max Scherzer against any starting pitcher that they have.
For Max Scherzer, do you think he's because people call him the biggest psycho in all of baseball? Do you think that's true?
No, I just think he's intense, and there's nothing wrong with being intense when you're on the field. Like that's his job to win games, And so when he's pitching, that's his job, and he treats it that way. He's not there to make, to be friends with anybody while he's on the mound. He's not there to do anything else besides pitch and win ball games, and that's why he's a multiple Cy Young winner. That's why he's a World Series champion, is because he takes it seriously, and not everybody's like that, or that's not how everybody gets down. And the Dodgers just take the lead with a 2-run home run. They're up 11-9 now, but that's important when you have a guy that cares that much and about his craft, and when he that's the reason he stayed relevant for so long. Not only is his stuff, but the way he prepares and the way he takes the mound is good.
So for Sean Manaea, do you agree that his nickname is the Throwing Samoan?
I've heard that a couple times. I don't know if he goes by that, but I like it. I mean, obviously he's got the tattoos and he's really proud of his heritage, and so that's definitely a cool nickname to have because it has his family ties involved with it.
Oh, so do you like catcher Sean Murphy? What have you seen in Sean Murphy that about just facet of his game basically?
Yeah, so he's an excellent defensive catcher, good at framing, got a rocket up an arm, hits home runs. But he had a hard time with his splits this year, if I remember correctly, his righty versus lefty split. So that's just something he's got to work on. But really, he's still, pretty new to the game, and he had his, a full season this year behind the dish, and so I think it's just a learning curve, not only at the plate, but how to command a rotation and how to command a pitching staff. And for the most part, I thought he did a really good job with that. I'm glad they brought in Yan Gomes towards the end of the year to kind of give him some veteran leadership. I think the rookies as catchers, need to ask a lot of questions and learn how to control a pitching staff and a bullpen and create all those relationships with your pitching staff, because they have to trust you to call the right pitches behind the dish every night in and night out. And so, that's tough for a rookie to not only have to worry about that, but worrying about hitting as well.
So are you saying that the 3 games that the A's have left in the season, it's not going to really, if they win those games, it's not going to really matter because they're already out of the postseason, so it doesn't really matter if they win those 3 games?
Yeah, they've been mathematically eliminated, so it doesn't really matter if they win all 3. The only thing that they would do for that would be to actually, it wouldn't matter at all because Houston can't catch Tampa Bay. So it might make Houston have a road game in the first series versus home, which I guess, but the A's always like beating Houston because the rivalry's there, and so maybe it's just kind of just like a sweet exit to the season, by beating Houston would be the only, reason for that.
It's kind of heartbreaking for me because one of my friends works for at the A's stadium. So it's kind of heartbreaking for him to not go to work at the A's get work any of the A's games anymore. So I'm kind of sad for him because the A's season is officially over. So he's not working any more of the A's games this season. He's probably has to wait next year in 2022 to work more A's games.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fans that I know went on the Friday night, the last home series when they swept Houston. They won 14-2, so that was really nice for a lot of fans to be able to end on a high note at home. I know they didn't end on a high note for the season, but at least at home they did. The last home series was a sweep. They got to see some wins. So a cherry to a sour Sunday, so to speak. Having that ending.
They lost, but if they won, that would be really great feeling because that would be like the cherry on top of the sundae.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to make the postseason. The A's roster is good enough to make the postseason, and they should have. And it was nice last year, winning a series and going farther into the playoffs. And you thought that the A's would continue to do that, or at least be just as good this year. But when you lose Marcus Semien, you lose some of that kind of stuff. Your closer that you signed, Trevor Rosenthal, never pitched a game for you. So it's just kind of tough, some tough breaks to start the season, and they just weren't as good as a team. They weren't as consistent this year as we thought, as a lot of fans thought they would be at to start.
So something else I would like to add is that it doesn't feel great that they're not playing Celebration at the end of the A's when they lose. So because Celebration kind of has that nice feeling to it whenever you have an A's victory and then you hear that song, it kind of lightens up the mood. Do you agree with that? That song just has that happy feeling to it, just kind of makes
Yeah, I
every.
mean, that's what A's fans have been used to for a while now, and that's just something really nice to after A's win. It's just kind of like you get down, you get a little dance, you feel good. You're walking out of the seat and the music's playing. Like that song always reminds me of A's wins, and if it comes on at any other point in time, I always laugh and smile and realize and about the good games that I've seen there.
But when you don't hear it play, that kind of bums you, kind of disappoints you when they lose and you don't hear. It's basically all the stadium's all silent, like
Yeah,
no nothing.
it's all silent, and then you kind of if you see them on the road, like because I live in Texas, if you see them win out here, you kind of play that song in your head, and like you kind of sing it to yourself because that's just what you're used to at Oakland Stadium.
Oh, so even if they're on the road, you still hear that. You think of that song still,
Yeah,
even
I
if they're
always
not,
yeah, I think of it all the time.
even if
You
they're
know,
not playing in Oakland.
hmm
Hmm?
if they win, yeah, I sing it.
No.
I kind of sing it out loud or to myself or something like that. It's just that ingrained in A's victories.
But I just like how great the A's fan base has been. I mean, uh, I think we'll. Do you think that they can try? They always have next year, so they can always try to win a championship next year. But you know, it would. I mean, a parade would be lovely. I mean, that would be what we hope.
Yeah, every fan hopes that they can, and I think fans now even more with the talk of them leaving. A title would be excellent. It just depends on what the brass wants to do. Are they going to want to keep this team together and make sure they re-sign a couple of those pieces? Ramon Laureano is going to be suspended for the first part of the season, so they're going to bring back Starling Marte. Are they going to make a push for a postseason again? Or are they going to blow it up and start over? I don't really know what they have planned and what they're looking at and everything like that. But the fans definitely deserve a title. They deserve for the team to stay in Oakland. They put their heart and soul into that team, and the city and the ownership should do whatever it needs to get it done.
Would you say that the A Stadium is like one of the most historical stadiums out there? Lots of history involved with the stadium.
I do. I just think it just has a lot of character. It might not be the best fundamentally, like Wrigley or Fenway, but it has a lot of character, and the fans really love it. And there's really nothing like tailgating before a game, all the fans, sharing burgers and brats and beer and all the memories there, from the '89 World Series to the championships in the '70s and everything like that. It's been here for a long time. Fans enjoy it. There's character there, and so it really is a nice place, and I think a lot of A's fans enjoy it. Do we want a new stadium? Sure, but that we enjoy going to games there.
The only problem with the A's stadium is there's no bay, there's no view of the bay, so that's kind of a negative side of it, that you don't get to see the water or the bay. It's basically like there's no bay view of the bay from from there.
Yeah,
So does that kind of suck
well,
that
I mean,
there's
I
no?
want a bayfront view, with the new stadium, but um, you know, it, if it wasn't for Mount Davis and the Raiders, like you would have a view of the hilltops in the background, and so that kind of cut a lot of the prettiness out and of the stadium there. But it's still, I like the stadium. They have good beer selections, they have good food selections. The fans are always great. They put the treehouse in left field. That's a fun area to watch the game from, and so yeah, like you want the picturesque views of where the Giants play, or PNC, or a lot of the where Cincy plays, and so that just it's always nice to have those nice stadiums, but there's character to the Coliseum.
How long have you been an A's fan?
My whole life. Yeah, I mean, I walked on the field when I was 5 for like a Little League Appreciation Day, and ever since then I was a fan.
Have you ever been to the fireworks nights? They normally have like Star Wars fireworks night, Pixar fireworks night, 90s different themed fireworks nights at the ballpark. Um,
Yeah, I think I've been to one or two. Growing up, we were about 2.5 hours away from the stadium, closer to Lake Tahoe, and so it wasn't like we were always at a lot of games. We try to make it to 5 or 6 a year. So sometimes we caught a fireworks game, but for the most part, we were just trying to go when we could. With mom and dad working, and when they could take us, and all that kind of stuff like that. So I've seen a few fireworks nights from there. But for the most part, it's just been whenever we could go.
and are you a or do you like day games or night games? I mean, do you have a preference, or you just like what I mean, if you're whatever you're feeling like, if you're more feeling like going at night just to get a nice view, or at the during the day.
Both have their nice stuff to them. I kind of have a little bit of a pale skin, so being out in the sun all day, like I have to make sure I reapply the sunscreen all the time. But it's nice to there's nothing wrong with having a beer and a broad during the daytime to catch some baseball. That's just kind of nostalgic. But the night games are always fun. That's just as a player, you want to play underneath the lights of fans, underneath the lights. It's a good feeling.
Does it get kind of cold at night? Because I know it gets more cold, and I think when you go to Oakland, it doesn't get that cold in Oakland, so you don't have to bring a jacket. But well, if you go to San Francisco, at Oracle Park, the ballpark down in San Francisco, it gets kind of cold there because you're closer to the bay, you're closer to the water, so it does get a little more chilly. Does it get chilly in Oakland, or is it just depending on the weather? Whatever the weather is like, that's basically what it's gonna be. If it's gonna be chilly or not that chilly.
No, when the sun goes down, it gets pretty cold. So for the night games, you want to bring a hoodie in, or wear pants. So where you're only warm for the little bit of the beginning, but then you have that jacket to keep you warm throughout the end of the game.
But for me, when I went to day games, it's day games are fun, but it's just like if you don't drink water, or you don't keep yourself hydrated, you're gonna have a heat stroke, or you're like it's gonna be really bad. So when you go out during the day, you make sure to be hydrated, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated.
Yeah, I
It's really
mean,
hot outside.
because yeah, I mean the Bay Area doesn't get too hot, and so you kind of lose track of your hydration, and then you're drinking beers and stuff like that. It's always good to drink water.
Um, do you just? I mean, is the food at the at the A's ballpark? Is it pretty cheap, or is it kind of get a little too pricey? So if you have a budget on how much you want to spend, it can get a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think all ballparks are roughly the same with their food cost. I mean, it's professional sports. What I like about the A's games is they tailgate beforehand, so you can bring your own food, right, and eat before the game and get that going on if you have time to do that. And then you just you get a little buzz going, and then you just go into the game and coast. You don't have to worry about eating there, but they have good food. The prices are decent. I mean, for a major league ballpark, they're not outrageous or anything.
Which area, like if you wanted to get like a little bit of shade, at the park, which area would you want to sit in and get tickets to which section if you don't want to sit in the, um, where it's too hot and you want to get a shady area somewhere where there's a little bit of shade covering you.
Yeah, there's decent amounts of overhang from each level to level, so you could just sit back further in the section, anywhere around the lower level of the infield. Um, Preferably, I believe on first base, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've been to a day game over there to remember, but I think it's on first base, and you can go farther up into the stands to get in the shade if you need to.
Where do you prefer to sit? Like, do you have like a place to sit? Do you like to be closer to the field, or do you like to be a little farther away from the field?
I mean, I would love to be as close to the field as possible if I can, but it's more about who you go to the game with. Your company and enjoying the game and doing those types of things can be better than the seat itself.
Are you saying that the closer you get sit to the field, the more expensive they get, and the more you sit back, it's cheaper because you're not sitting close to the field. Probably close to the field tickets can be anywhere from $100 to the club level, which could be more like 400, $200, $300 per ticket.
It just depends on the team and depends on who they're playing, right? So rivalry games, the tickets are usually more expensive. If they're playing some teams that aren't very good, that aren't in the division, they're usually a little bit cheaper. But yeah, most major league teams, if you're sitting close by the dugouts, you're paying around $100.
Are you saying that if when the A's and Giants were playing in Oakland, those tickets are going to be a little bit higher?
Yeah, they're going to be a little bit higher because the demand for them is more.
Um, so so do you have any other moments you like that you really like enjoyed a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite moment for the A's, as far as me being at the Coliseum, was when they played the Tigers. Sonny Gray was pitching. They won 1-0. We scored a run at the end of the game to win. So it was a tight game. It was 1-0, and it was those playoffs against the Tigers were always intense. My whole family got to go, so that was cool. And then we were sitting. I believe for that game we were sitting in the right field, right behind the foul pole, and so we were right next to the drummers. So that was really awesome. They kind of had that vibe and energy with us there in right field. What about you? What's your favorite A's game you've been to?
I like the most famous is the 1989 World Series. That's a moment I can't forget. When A's played the Giants in the 1989 World Series and won it.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
an exciting moment. And the other one was when Sham and I got the no hitter.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the Barry Zito Cy Young year. That was a pretty special year too.
Are you saying that when Sham and I got the no hitter, do they normally hug the player from the back like the catcher, like when Buster Posey gets a no hitter, Madison Bumgarner hugs him, like they have that special moment with the catcher and the pitcher?
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, especially if it ends in a strikeout. They kind of run at each other and hug. It's a special moment, especially for a pitcher, because it doesn't happen very often. It's really hard to pitch, especially these days, and so to get a no hitter or a perfect game is pretty exciting. It's a
So
once in a lifetime experience.
so if you miss it, then you never experience it again if you missed out that one in a time moment.
Yeah, very few people even come close to throwing a no hitter, and when you do throw it, it's super special, and you need to cherish it.
So it's like winning a World Series. That's a once in a lifetime thing, right? To experience a World Series win.
Yeah, I think winning a World Series is probably higher on the list for all baseball players because most players care more about that final peak, that winning that title. But yeah, it's definitely just as difficult, and most players don't ever get a chance to even play in a World Series, let alone have a championship.
But it's kind of getting a little late, and I haven't had my dinner yet. We might have to end this stream about probably 5 minutes or so. But is there anything else you would like to add? Just about the A's, like anything else you want to say about the A's before I have to
Yeah,
end
before you
this?
hop off. No
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting off season. We're gonna see what happens with the stadium. We're gonna see if they're really gonna keep the team around, and it's gonna be interesting postseason. Obviously, if the Dodgers beat St. Louis, that Giants Dodgers series is going to be pretty interesting in the first round, and then for both the right now the Red Sox and Yankees are in the wild card game, which is their rivalry is also pretty crazy. So for them to have a 1-game playoff to see who gets in, and then if the Dodgers win, then they play the Giants in a series. There's going to be a lot of good rivalry baseball in the postseason. It should be very interesting.
Do you have anything else to say to the A's fan base? Some positive words of inspiration for the A's fans who are probably devastated right now. What I mean that they're eliminated. So, what are some positive things that you would just say to them to lift up their mood and put them in a happier mood, so they're not all sad and their spirits are all down.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Baseball happens, but also the titles happen too, and so you just got to hope that next year is going to be the year that they put it all together, and just kind of have hope. That's, as a sports fan, when you're not in it next year, you just got to have hope and be ready for the season to start, because spring training will be here pretty soon enough.
So when you go online and you look at the team, do they always say like congratulate the fans are really used to support us a lot, and they really give kudos to the fans a lot, because the fans are the people that come out to the games and support the team a lot, right? So would you say the fans are also I mean they also are the people who are also part of this? How much they bring out, make the experience exciting, coming out to the games and just bring their energy every single day, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, in all the sports, they said when they didn't have fans that it was really tough for them, and it was really weird not having cheers and stuff out there. So I think all the players love and appreciate the fans out there and how much effort they put, and how much money of their own money they spend, and coming out to a lot of games, especially season ticket holders that come out all the time and make the effort to see multiple games a season and do all those things, to the fan that only gets to go once and this is their first A's game. They try to make it feel special to everybody, and I think the players enjoy that. I think most of them enjoy signing autographs for little kids, and because they were once those kids trying to be at baseball games and falling in love with the game.
Um, have you which one player on the A's team is like shows good contribution to the community? Just cares about the community and the kids, does good things for the little kids. I know Buster Posey does good things for the kids. He gave one time he gave a glove where he gave 100 free gloves to the Junior Giants Foundation, which is like the kids version of the Giants. It's like the young where it's like basically they're like baseball players, but they're like the junior Giants, which is the young Giant players who are just like. So do you see any player on the A's who does stuff like that, where goes to hospitals and visits the kids and takes photos with the younger ones, and then just does good things for the community? Just cares about the community in general.
Yeah, I don't know if he does, goes to the hospitals and does exactly what Posey is doing, but I know Tony Kemp does a lot of stuff for the community, especially in Oakland. I know Marcus Simeon, before he left for Toronto, did a lot of things in the community. And then, you have a bunch of other players with their outreach program. You have the lastdiebar.com that all their proceeds go to charities. So, it's definitely something that a lot of players I try to give back.
So would you say that that Marcus Semien is like a Oakland boy? Like he's very he's in the Bear. He's played for the A's, and then he's played for Cal, the Cal baseball team, and is uh so is that does that show that he's a Bear? He loves the Bay Area.
Yeah, he's been in the Bay his whole life, and he wanted to stay there, and he was vocal about wanting to stay there. And it's a shame that he didn't. It's a shame that the A's didn't really make much of an effort to keep him in town.
Yeah, but I just want to say that the A's have I just want to say like it's baseball can't win every you can't win every time in baseball. There's winners and losers. It's just how the game is.
It's a
But
tough it's a tough season. 162 games. You can't. It's hard to play good all year, and not every team can make the playoffs. And you just got to come back the next year and retool and give it another shot.
um but uh but it was great having you on and uh probably we can try and do this next season. We can probably do some post game shows next season.
Yeah, we
Um
could do some post game shows next season, and maybe we could just do some baseball shows during the playoffs too.
yeah. But it was really great having you on for the second time. Really exciting.
Yeah,
Um
man. Anytime, Shardall. I appreciate you having me on your channel. It means a lot to come out here and talk baseball with you, and I'm glad that I could come out.
it's really great it's really great talking baseball with you. Uh but I gotta hop off now, but I hope you have a great one, Brandon.
I hope you have a great one too, man. Enjoy your meal.
Okay, see ya.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.